Guten Morgen from the imperial city of Vienna. I've already had videos here before, so I didn't record anything this time. But this morning, I'm on the Danube, ready to head to Pressburg, or what was formerly called Pressburg, Bratislava, the capital of Slovakia. Join me on this trip up the river into a city that I've never been to. Vienna's main port is down that part of the Danube. First sight in Brat-islava, UFO bridge. Will we go to the observation tower? TBD. Hello everyone, welcome to Brat-islava. We've made it. I don't know why my cadence was so weird there. Like I was messing with my camera as I was speaking, got distracted. So anyway, UFO bridge there, castle up on a hill, old town somewhere that way. Hannah, we excited?
Yes.
Yes, we're excited. All right, let's go check out Bratislava. You won't find many mentions of Bratislava in historical texts because the name's actually pretty new. It used to be called Pressburg, and it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Today, the city's taken on a new Slavic identity, but still, I would say, has a lot of similarities to older German cities, Austrian cities, especially in this beautiful old town area. I like the tree-lined streets because it's supposed to be pushing about 90 degrees today, so a little shade is very welcome. Still first impressions here, but this appears to be a very cute old town. In the same vein as Riga, Tallinn, so on and so forth. Up ahead of us is our first major site in Bratislava, Michael's Gate, which was a gate made up the 13th century fortifications of the city. I think the only remaining gate in Bratislava as part of the fortifications. But before we go check that out closer, we have to go find coffee. And as you'd expect, the central square, also very cute. I guess the Greek embassy is in the central square in the old town, so that's nice for them. Very nice. And somewhere to cool off, beat the heat. I love. Up ahead we have the old town hall. Obviously that's Bratislava's town hall. Ooh, and a little statue. A lot going on in the central area. So that was a peek inside a service. One of the churches here that from the 1630s, so before the US was even founded. Always amazing in Europe, if that's the case. Oh, gonna get out of the way of this guy. And a closer look at Michael's Tower. Named that because of the statue of St. Michael on the top, and because there was a church to St. Michael just outside this city gate, back when this marked the entrance to historical Pressburg. Now, though it was built in the 1300s, it's currently a very Baroque looking building, and that's because it was rebuilt in the 1700s. Or I guess the tower rather was refinished in the 1700s. So we're now gonna breach the gate I don't know why there's people clapping, but they are.
How far away are we from?
You can see it's a major capital.
6,886.
So home is generally. And we're through the gate. And Michael's gate on the other side. So we're now outside, technically, of historical Pressburg. So, our bridge, I'm pretty sure, part of the fortifications, was a moat at one point. Now it's all filled in. When you get out of Old Town, the streets get much wider. It starts to feel maybe a little more communist than charming and old. Still very beautiful though, with these churches. So, we've already observed so far a lot of churches, old churches. It's quite nice that they survived the communist era. Well, Slovakia was part of a combined Czechoslovakia for a long time, part of the Soviet Union. And then once the Czechoslovakia had split up from the Soviet Union in the Velvet Revolution in the 80s, they then split from each other. I think it's the Velvet Divorce in the 90s. Since then, Slovakia has been its own country. We are now out in front of Slovakia's beautiful presidential palace. It was built as a residence for the account Anton Gosalkovich. I don't know his rank. He was a close friend of Maria Theresa. This park is Slovakia's answer to the south lawn of the White House, the public park directly behind the presidential palace. It seems you can get much closer to this presidential palace than you can to the White House of the United States. We're going to go see exactly how close. So you can pretty much walk right up to the back of the presidential palace. Amazing. Love the lawn here too. Well manicured. Over here is the office of the government of the Slovak Republic. Now I don't know what the difference is between that and the presidential palace. Maybe it's where the prime minister lives. I know it's not the parliament building, so. But very pretty Baroque architecture. A lot of Baroque in the city. Because Slovakia was part of the Warsaw Pact, it's not totally surprising. You have a beautiful communist looking park like this, where very modern concrete buildings, not super adorned, and then a very nice fountain, which I don't know if that's actually from communist times, but it's lovely. And across the street from us is the last synagogue in Bratislava. Because Slovakia was briefly part of the Third Reich, most of the city's Jews were deported and killed during the Holocaust. So this is all that's left. Very sad. It's a shocking mixture of architectural styles in Slovakia. Oh my gosh, that building's kind of disorienting to look at. Amazing. You look down there, it gets very Art Deco again. A lot to see, a real treat for the eyes. A little like you're being transported back in time in certain areas. And this claymation looking church is the Blue Church, one of the most famous sites here in Bratislava. We're gonna go take a peek inside, which is apparently free, which is my favorite kind of sight to see. I don't know why I'm rhyming, maybe because this is Dr. Seuss-like. Anyway, in we go. The Blue Church is closed, but you can still see most of it. It's very pretty, as Hannah observes. Yeah, I mean, for something built in 1908, looking pretty good. So I've now been to the Blue Mosque and the Blue Church. The Blue Mosque is definitely grander. This one has a playfulness about it that's quite fun. Though it's not as well known as the Viennese opera, there is a Bratislavan opera. I think it's the Slovakian National Opera. In this beautiful building here, in the classic European square in front of the Opera House. Does it get any more European than this? And I know Europe's not a country. I know, I'm talking about the continent. All right, we're gonna try Kafola, which is the Soviet version of Coca-Cola. It's still popular here. And it tastes like black licorice. So I guess depends whether you like that or not. Personally, not my favorite. But anyway, the Opera House again. Beautiful view. There's a man at work. The statue of Chumo. Apparently people rub his head. Apparently it's the most photographed statue in the city. And with the heat of the day in full swing, we're back in the town square with the beautiful city hall. And the church next to it is now closed. So I guess we're not going in there, but hopefully we can check out City Hall. And barring that, the Primatial Palace, which is somewhere nearby. All right, entering the town hall. The old town hall. And this is the backside of the old town hall, which has a museum in there, but we have a lot to see today. So, let's settle with the view from the outside. Out on the outside, the old town hall is the Primatial Palace. Beautiful Baroque palace here in Bratislava. To go into the mirror hall costs some money, but the courtyard is free. And it's stunning. Up ahead of us is St. Martin's Cathedral, where the Hungarian kings and queens of yore were crowned, which is why at the very top you can see a replica of the Hungarian crown. We're gonna go peek inside, hopefully, and see the majestic interior, or what I assume to be the majestic interior. Fairly monumental. Now, I'm actually not certain about this because there's no sign, but I believe these are part of the old city walls. Ooh, I almost just tripped over and broke my ankle. Amazing. And we're back out of Old Town as we head up outside the city walls towards the castle. Oop, and some beautiful graffitied walls. Between these trees and the building, we have a beautiful view of Old Town. And then between these trees, we can see the castle where we're going. We made it up to the castle. Whew. On a bike. So the entire complex dates back to 907, according to something Hannah read. So I think most of the castle went up a little later than that, like the 1300s. But we're gonna try to go over here to the scenic overlook, get a better view. So this castle was continuously built and rebuilt since the 9th century. But it was recently restored, which is why it's in such good shape. And now, it's time for one of the more impressive overlooks that I've seen from a castle. That's this beautiful look down the Danube and at the UFO bridge. I think there's a concert here tonight. So Hannah thinks they could do more with this blank spot. I'd propose they're trying to keep the castle.
I propose some wonderful graffiti.
Some graffiti? Yeah. Looks like Vienna. Yeah. So we just got to mooch off of a tour group that was right outside of the castle behind me. We found out this castle is actually older than the city of Bratislava itself, that there were people who were settled in this area, this very defensible high position, since before the Romans. And then the Romans built settlements here, and then Slavs built settlements here, and then Hungarians built the castle. Now what I didn't know is that the castle completely burned down in the 1800s, and that this is a recreation in the 1960s. So a little disappointing as a history buff, but what can you do? That's life. Crazily enough, because it is not the most beautiful building I've ever seen, that building is the parliament for the Republic of Slovakia. That brutalist, communistic looking building. So I'm excited to go see it because it's very different. I mean, it really is almost beautiful in a way. I'm blown away. It's amazing. I actually kind of love it. Hannah does not, but I've always been a fan of more brutalist structures, so that fits. Now what this building does have, for sure, it's a great view of the castle and a beautiful view of the same overlook you can see from the castle, which we'll check out in a second. The Slovakian parliament. Amazing. So this is a cat cafe where it's free entry, which they're about to make up in the amount I spend.
It's a non-profit.
And it's a non-profit. Match Cafe, I think it is. Highly recommend. With our limited time left in Bratislava after our glorious outing at the cat cafe, we're heading up to the Slaven monument. Maybe Slovene, I actually don't know. But to do so requires walking up a hill in this beautiful residential part of Bratislava. After a pretty good hike, we made it to the Slaven, or Slovene, still don't know about that. Tallest war memorial in Europe, I think. Should probably double check all these things, but probably won't. Whew. And still higher we go. After a whole bunch of hiking, made it to the Slaven, or Slovene. Still don't know the pronunciation. Whew. There's the monument to honor the Soviet soldiers who died to free Bratislava and Slovakia from the Nazi terror. Whew. It is a ways up. And these are plaques honoring fallen soldiers and officers all the way around the memorial. And over there, a view of almost out of Tallinn, Bratislava. Go there shortly. Now, here we see Red Army soldiers comforting a child. And behind, monument at the victorious Red Army soldier. Behind. Ooh. Sorry, I'm out of breath. Long hike. I'm out of shape. If the construction weren't happening, this would be a beautiful view. The castle, the cathedral, the UFO bridge that we still haven't seen. So much beauty, but blocked mostly by whatever's going on here. Sad. All right, we just had a delicious Slovakian meal. All right, we got the tasting platters here. And that's gonna do it here from Bratislava. A great day trip from Vienna, and probably worth 2 days. I think there was still enough for us to do if we wanted to stay longer, but it's time to be getting back and going to sleep.